once again, watchers of good TV, my name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my white room. Now, this is the second season finale, which happened on Sunday, and this is my review for Revenge. And this is the third season that I'm talking about here, so if you are not caught up with season 3 of Revenge in its entirety, I will be talking about spoilers in this review, so just be wary of that if you are not caught up with the show. A very large portion of this season, at least the first half of it, dwelled on Emily and Daniel's wedding, which was going to happen, and it did happen. And so there's a lot of build up to it. Emily is plotting as usual. Daniel is being manipulated as all hell by Emily, which is getting old by that point. And just a lot of different things are occurring. We're introduced to a new character called Margot, and she is this person who is the daughter of a man named Pascal who has connections to Conrad Grayson. And so she is trying to separate herself from her father by opening up her own magazine and starting it up and running it on her own to show that she can run her own business and be separate from her father. And she does this essentially to impress him, and she begins a relationship with Jack as a result of this. I don't remember exactly how this occurs, but it happens. I don't remember a whole lot that happened in the first half of the season, I'm just going to be honest, just because it happened in September. Conrad had to step down from his reign as governor because he was believed to be deathly ill, and then it's revealed that he is not deathly ill, so he's all happy and stuff about that. And like I said, a large portion of the season really just dived into the whole wedding issue. Aiden has come back. Originally, we don't know what side he's on because we see him hanging around the Graysons a lot, so we don't know if he's betrayed Emily or whatnot. Obviously, he doesn't betray Emily. That'd be silly. Aiden's back in the picture. Nolan's still in the picture, obviously. We have just this whole regular slew of cast members that are still in the picture. So kind of bouncing to the mid-season finale now. Obviously, if there's anything that I missed that you really want my thoughts on, leave them in the comments below or message me and I would be happy to discuss it with you. I'm just putting that out there because I'm not going to go into great detail of this section of the season. Mid-season finale, we have the wedding itself. It happens. Emily gets married to Daniel and she becomes a Grayson finally. Victoria's still obviously very mistrusting of her. Daniel has rekindled his love, I suppose, with his ex-girlfriend, and so that's a huge issue that's been plaguing Emily for a good chunk of the season. The only way that Daniel sticks with the marriage is the fact that Emily pretends that she is pregnant. This eventually backfires on her later in the season a little bit. We have the wedding. Emily has this huge scheme plan. She's going to make it seem like Victoria has shot Emily, and thus Victoria gets arrested and she's out of the picture, and Emily gets her revenge on that front. Doesn't happen that way. Daniel shows up, hears everything that Emily admits, more or less, and he's drunk at this point too, and so he shoots Emily 3 times in the chest. She was not supposed to get shot. She was going to fire the shots into the air and then fall overboard and find Aiden take off. So she gets shot. It seems like she's dead. This is a show that stars Emily Thorne. They're not going to kill her off. That'd be silly. She survives. She has a memory loss issue. She experiences blackouts in the second half of the season. And eventually these are rekindled. Aiden kind of helps her through it. She has to confront her fears once again. And she does this. Margot's relationship with Jack eventually expires because they just are not seen eye to eye on many things, and she begins to have something of a relationship with Daniel Grayson. Because at the beginning of this second half of the season, Daniel begins to hook up with his ex-girlfriend after he finds out Emily lied about the pregnancy, and she essentially covers for Daniel because she wants to handle him her way and have that kind of leverage over him. Very quickly they get divorced. I was kind of annoyed by this because for the first 2.5 seasons, we've been leading up to Emily trying to get Daniel married to her just so that she could get the Grayson name, theoretically, and also so that she could have an inside way to get her revenge.
This ends within like 3 episodes, I think, of the second half of the season, and she gets divorced. Jack's mother shows up, and she ends up being one of Conrad's ex-wives, which is a very interesting twist. And I like the fact that we have a Grayson who's not evil. That helps things a little bit. And just a whole slew of things happen in this second half of the season, which I don't want to touch on in great detail. One of Nolan's apprentices, you could say, from prison, he shows up and he has this new app that he is going to design. He betrays Nolan for the Graysons, and Graysons screw him over, and he gets broke and he crawls back to Nolan. Oh, what else happens? At the beginning of the second half, we are introduced to Pascal. We see his relationship to the Graysons, especially Conrad and Victoria. Victoria and Pascal get engaged. Emily uses Pascal to try to get dirt on Conrad. Conrad, more or less, kind of figures it out, but he throws Pascal into a helicopter blade and kills him. That was brutal. Very brutal scene. Kind of expected, I suppose, because when you stand in front of a helicopter blade and you have your adversary in the position to push you into said blade, you're going to die. That's how it works. So this happens, Victoria obviously very upset, and in the penultimate episode we have Emily getting her revenge on Conrad, finally. We have some sort of progress. Thank you, ABC, for doing this, finally. Conrad gets found out. He admits all of the things that he said. Basically, when Charlotte was kidnapped, they bugged her so that, and kind of mic'd her so that she would have like a video camera that she didn't know about. And all of the things that Conrad admitted to Charlotte were aired live on TV, and thus he gets ousted. A lot of evidence gets put against him, and it seems like he's going to get life in prison, if not death. So his world is kind of going, yeah. So I guess aiming towards the season finale now. So obviously, if you have not seen last night's season's finale, stop here if you don't want spoilers. So one of the very first things that happened that is very significant in this finale is Aiden's death. Aiden gets poisoned by Victoria. This is kind of like a poison which was like those Pablo and Nikki, I think, on Lost, where essentially you get paralyzed after about a minute of drinking it. Victoria, she shows up and she just suffocates him with a pillow, and Aiden is dead, and it's just done. Okay. This death was a little bit predictable for me, just because the beginning of the episode opened with it seeming like, oh hey, Emily and Aiden, they're going to be great, and the life is going to get so much better soon. Obviously, when you set that up, it's leading up to disappointment and death of somebody significant. That part, a little bit easy to predict that Aiden was going to die. I didn't expect it that soon. I thought it was going to be more towards the end of the episode, saving Emily or something. But, yeah, Aiden taken out. And then she puts his body in Emily's house with his eyes still open and his mouth still open. That's just mean. And so she gets very scarred by that, you could say. As these things are underway, the David Clark investigation gets reopened and he is eventually cleared of all charges. This could easily be a series finale episode, because it seems like everything gets solved in this episode except for a few minor things. So David Clark cleared of all charges. He is said to be innocent now. Conrad, he is in prison. We see him in prison. He's getting beat by a guard who eventually lets him go. This is the other big reveal that happens in this episode, is that as Conrad is walking away, he knows that he's going to get picked up by a car, and so the car shows up, person gets out, ends up being David Clark, who we thought was dead for 3 seasons, and he's not dead. So he ends up stabbing Conrad, killing him, assumably, and leaving him on the side of the road. This kind of sets up an interesting way that the show could go for season 4. I really hope that season 4 is the final season, just because Emily's won, more or less. I'll get to more of the why in a second. I would find it kind of interesting if David Clark wasn't as innocent as we thought he was, and then when Emily realizes that he actually had a hand in Flight 197, she tries to get revenge against him, and so that's where the finale is, with these two people basically standing off against each other. That would be an interesting way to end the series, I think. Lead to other quick things. Daniel is going to be framed for murder because, well, kind of murder, because a prostitute in his bed has OD'd on drugs, and there's footage of this. There's a picture of it done by Margot's brother, who Margot stole the company from, essentially. And so that's going to happen fairly quickly in season 4. Jack is arrested for Charlotte's abduction. Charlotte realizes that Jack was the one who freed her, but he wasn't exactly the one who did the crime. He was the one who kind of felt sorry, and he just let her go. She realizes this, she calls the cops, they take him away and for questioning. And so that's Jack's ordeal at that point. Better than aiming a gun at Conrad, who's going to be governor soon, season 2. And then the last bit of the season is Victoria. She approaches Emily as Emily's digging up Amanda Clark's grave, and Emily whacks her over the head with a shovel. Victoria wakes up in a psych ward, and she is being taken in by the same doctor who kept Emily there as a child, and so Emily has essentially recruited this person, you could say, into keeping Victoria here, because Victoria has found out her secret. Victoria knows that she is Amanda Clark now, so Emily is making it look like she is crazy, and this is brilliant. It's a good way to do it, and Emily walks out. We hear Victoria screaming, "She's Amanda Clark, she's Amanda Clark," and Emily just puts on sunglasses and walks away. And like I said, this could easily be a series finale if they did not have the David Clark thing, if they did not have Jack arrested, and if they had showed Daniel maybe getting arrested. This could have ended the show so well, because Conrad is assumably dead. Victoria is going to be in a psych ward. I'm assuming that she will get out at some point, because we need a villain for this last season. Assumably it's the last season. Yeah, there's not a whole lot left that can happen in this show, so it has to be that David Clark is a bad guy, and he is maybe the one who was actually 100% behind Flight 197's crash and demise. We don't know, but that would be a very interesting twist. And so, yeah, I don't know. It'll be an interesting 4th season. Like I said, I really hope it's the last season, because there's not much more that they can do at this point. Emily has won, and she knows that she has won, and I don't know what they're going to do after the show. We'll see. Next season, season 4, maybe final season. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on season 3 of Revenge. So leave your thoughts down below on what you thought about it. I'd love to hear them and discuss the season with you. Like, fair, comment, and subscribe. As always, if you so choose, I would appreciate it immensely. And make sure to buy my short story down here in the description. There's a link down there for you to click on and go and buy it on Amazon. And then, as always, my good people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching. It's a